listening to the Not So Christian in Me show, starring Southern Girl Denise.
Hello. Welcome to the Not So Christian in Me show. I'm your host and CEO, Southern Girl Denise, and I'm coming to you guys with another great episode of the Not So Christian in Me show. And today we have another great guest. Today's guest is from the Houston area. She's a local attorney, and she's going to tell us all about what she got going on with her new firm that's launching soon. So without further ado, please help me welcome attorney Victoria Broussard. Hey. How are you?
I am triple blessed, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed and highly favored as well. So tell my viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Victoria Broussard, and I am a family law attorney. I originally hail from Port Arthur, Texas, the 409, and I spent a lot of time in the Austin area where I did my undergraduate degree, and then I came to TSU, Thurgood Marshall School of Law, to go to law school. That was like almost 20 years ago, but I'm back in the Houston area and I love it. And I have done something that has not been done before, actually. I've taken all of the things that I have learned as a family law practitioner, and I started the Alchemy Attorneys, which is the law firm with a moral compass. It's a humanitarian-based law firm that has a pay-it-forward business model that is extremely disruptive because, as we know, we are going into a different stage of our evolutionary period in humanity, and that is causing for us to have to change the way we deal with ourselves, the way we deal with one another, and particularly our professional spaces, which are normally those are the last places to change because they're so stuck in to the way they have been doing things because it serves the purpose and it serves the masses. It doesn't generally serve underdeveloped nations, underdeveloped communities, underserved communities. So we have to do that for ourselves. So that's why at the Alchemy Attorneys, we will raise your vibration during your litigation.
I like that. I love that slogan right there. So what inspired you to integrate the humanitarian side?
And that's an excellent question. And I have always wanted to do something that would help elevate consciousness. I have a philosophical framework that is a little bit unorthodox for our cultural background. I do a lot of meditation. I believe heavily in the power of your ability to change yourself first. And then once you do that internal mental vibrational frequency work, then you can start moving out and really affecting your community in a way that makes a difference. My mom was 15 years old when she had me. And so I came from a background where I wasn't expected to succeed, but my mom had a lot of support. She had support. Then she went into the military and served 20 years in the military, and that gave us additional support. But a lot of people don't have support, and so because I feel so fortunate and so blessed, I want to be able to provide that additional support. So that's where the Alchemy Attorneys Foundation comes in. That's what's so disruptive about this law firm is it's not just the law firm. It also has a charitable component. And what our clients can do is they can, if they choose, decide to give 5% of their retainer to the Alchemy Attorneys Foundation, which then feeds back services to our clients, as well as to other clients who need so many different types of services in family law. Family law encompasses every area of your life, your career, your home, your children, your love life, your romantic life, your sexual life. I mean, every single area of your life is touched in family law. And I've seen this for the past 20 years. And of course, I actually, the reason why I became a family law attorney mainly is because I got a divorce. And I was like, oh, shoot, I got to be prepared.
Right.
I mean, I always wanted to be a lawyer, but then I thought, well, I'm in this situation now, and I need to be able to protect myself and my son, and make sure that I have a little buffer. I'm insulated a little bit from what the
Yeah.
family law has. I mean, there's a lot of situations that you don't really think you can get involved in, but it can change like that, and that's where the charity comes in, because we provide food services, we provide mental health services. Family law is also very depressing, and a lot of people are struggling with mental health while they're going through a very hotly contested divorce or a modification where they are at risk of losing their children, or a CPS case where their children have even been taken away from them. So you have a lot of emotional issues that I felt like that's not being served. There's so much value that could be added, and we're in such a prestigious and really careful situation. We particularly placed ourselves in this situation as lawyers, but I have found personally that law firms do so little. And so that's why I wanted to build a model that is client based, is consumer based, and the consumer feels like, okay, I am a human, and this law firm does want to care for some of my other needs versus just taking my money.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. And I never heard anything that's like this. Never. So you're right. You the first one to do this, and I just commend you for just stepping out on faith and just doing what your heart desire, and not looking back, and just doing it for the people. And we're all in this world to help others, and for what you're doing, you're being a servant. You're serving your clients, you serving your community, you giving back, and that's what it's all about. And with that, you're gonna be blessed abundantly for what you're doing. So my hat is off. I take my hat off to you. Great job, great job. Now, how long have you been an attorney?
I have been an attorney since 2006. So, and that's here in the state of Texas. I practice mainly family law. I did a little bit of criminal law and some probate over the years. But the area
Okay.
that really touched me most, that I specialized in and really felt like I excelled in, was family law. So what we've done with the Alchemy Attorneys is we've started with family law, but our practice, our firm, will be a full service law firm encompassing all areas of law as soon as we're able to scale up. We have a global vision, actually.
Okay.
So we will be statewide, nationwide, worldwide.
Yeah. So now, so you guys are launching the one in Katy?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
okay.
My office is in Katy, and we'll service the Harris County community, and Fort Bend are the areas where we could get to easily.
Okay. And this will be your first location, right?
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
base. Okay. And you have multiple locations that's coming. Go ahead and claim it. You can
I
have other
believe
locations around the world.
that.
You have to speak that. Now, out of all the other type of what I want to say, services and cases, do you think family law is the biggest out of all the other type of law?
Well, I'm not really sure how you're qualifying biggest and how you're thinking about that as a definition, but I think that for us in our communities, the next practice area that we will scale up will very likely be criminal law.
Okay.
Yes, that's the area where, we really have issues in our community and the brown and black communities relative to civil rights, relative to access to justice.
Mhm.
Thank goodness for our public defenders. However, I think that, as a defense attorney, I've been a defense attorney many times on many different types of areas, from very serious criminal crimes to petty crimes. But there's
Mhm.
still a place there where justice is just not served. There's so much
Yeah.
room for improvement in that space, and that's one of the things that we will be ramping up as soon as possible. Now, I do believe family law is very crucial because, like I said, our children, it deals with our children and how our children feel about their parents, how the children feel about the legal system. Because in family law, when a child turns 12 years old, they can actually tell the judge which parent they prefer to live with. And the judge has to take that into consideration in a divorce or in a modification. So a lot of times these children are kind of put in the middle of these very awful litigious situations, and the parents are very angry, very hurt, very disappointed that the relationship went the way it did, which all of that's understandable. However, what I want to do with the Alchemy Attorneys is to provide more knowledge, is to give people a different way of thinking about how they're experiencing life and a different way of thinking about how to respond to one another. How can we give more love? Where's the love in this moment? Where's the care in this moment? Because that's what's going to take us to the next evolutionary process.
Right. And speaking of divorces and when children is involved, when it's dealing with stepchildren, do the person file contestant or non-contestant when it's children involved, but it's a stepchildren, not the biological child? I mean biological parent.
Okay,
How does that work?
I think I understand your question. So if someone is not a legal guardian, if they're just a step parent and that step parent has not gone through the process to adopt that child, then the step parent doesn't have a legal right. They're not what is considered a parent who has standing. That's the words that we use in our profession, is this person doesn't have standing to actually bring this lawsuit because they're not a legal guardian or parent. So what would have to happen is an adoption would have to occur. And I've done several of those where one of the parents is either absent or incarcerated or has transitioned or just wants to voluntarily relinquish their rights, and there's a step parent in the picture. The court is always going to favor that situation because then the child has two parents.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people get confused when it comes down to like filing. I think it's called contestant or non-contestant, right?
Well, right.
Yeah.
The difference between contested is someone is wanting to tell you no. You know, there's a problem. Someone is contesting what you're filing versus uncontested, meaning everyone's in agreement. Nobody has a disagreement about what the other person wants, and we're going to be able to come to an agreement and file that agreement with the court, sign it, and we have an uncontested matter.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, and then what I was going to ask you, I lost my train of thought because we had start talking about other stuff. So with family law, tell us more about family law. I know you talked about divorces, we talked about custody. What else do family law entail?
Family law also entails like name changes. Like if someone says, I want to change my name. Sometimes you have gender issues. Someone has decided they prefer to present to the world as either a man or a woman, which is different from the gender that they were born with, and they want to change their name. That's a family law issue. There's also premarital agreements. That's a family law issue. A lot of people they call them prenups, the general vernacular. People want to have an agreement before they get married. There's a lot going on in our economy. There's a lot going on in our world. And there is some security in knowing, okay, this is what I'm going to walk away with. If, things don't work out, I'm going to walk away with this. You're going to walk away with that. So a prenuptial agreement, a lot of times people they have a prenuptial agreement already that maybe they got in another state and they just want me to review it before they get married, or they didn't feel like their thoughts and their feelings about it, the situation were heard, and they want to get an attorney before they actually sign the prenuptial agreement. So then we already discussed modification, CPS issues, divorces. Some divorces are contested where you're going to have to go to court. Some are not, where everybody can agree on all the issues. The more complex the divorce is, the more likely we're going to have a contested issue and we're going to have to go to court. But one of the things that I tell my clients all the time is that you have to realize that the judge sees a very, very small portion of your life and of your children's life. And they are tasked with making a decision based on the very limited amount of information that they receive, which puts both parties in an undesirable situation because you're leaving your life and the decisions that are so important to you basically up to a stranger who you hope will be fair. And that's why I think it's important for attorneys to be empathetic and sympathetic and caring.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We really don't overstand. I don't use the word understand. I use the word overstand because you ain't going to put me under nothing. You're going to overstand.
Right.
And I'm going to
I like that.
Yeah. Because people don't really realize how sensitive, I use the word sensitive, the system is. And this is a strange person who has his own or her own biases that they bring to the bench. We don't want to accept these things, but it's the truth. And that's the one thing you're going to get when you hire the Alchemy attorneys. You're going to get the truth because I don't deal in those gray areas where, oh, well, maybe this, maybe that. And a lot of my clients in the past, they may not have liked that because they prefer the lie. Well, that's not what you're going to get here because I can't raise your vibration during your litigation if I'm lying to you.
Yes, exactly. So that's a real strong key factor when individuals are seeking an attorney. What are some other key factors that people should consider when they're looking for an attorney?
One of the things that contact, being able to text, getting a response, there should be a courting period, just like in any situation where you're deciding whether or not you want to continue an engagement with someone. You should court the attorney and, test it out, send them a text and see if they respond. If they don't, then after you hire them, they certainly ain't going to respond.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And also, what procedures do they have in place? Like with the Alchemy attorneys, we have taken painstaking care to ensure that the client understands what's going on throughout their case. And you're not just left alone to kind of figure it out. We have a portal on our website where you actually have access to documents. We have what's called a deliverable money back guarantee, which if we don't meet certain deliverables, if we don't meet 3 of our deliverables, you get a 50% refund, no matter at what point it is. So it's not a full money back guarantee. Let me be clear on it. When I say deliverable money back, in our profession, there are certain things that we can say, okay, this should be done by this time. This should be done by this time. This should be done by that time. And that is for the client to ensure that we don't just drag your case out forever and we just want to collect a paycheck every month. We don't even do invoices here. We have a one-time retainer. It's a one-time retainer. And with the more complex matters, of course, they're higher and more expensive. So we have programs where you can get on a payment plan, but it's still a fixed retainer. You don't get these crazy invoices every month where you're like going, what in the heck is this? That's ridiculous. That's not the way to practice law because you're concerned about how much is this going to cost me ultimately. You're not concerned about, okay, is this attorney really doing what they need to do or are they just collecting a paycheck every month? So we have deliverables. We have the portal that's set up where you can actually exchange ideas with other people who are in tiers like yours. Like say, for example, if you're in tier 1, then you could communicate with other people in tier 1. And no law firm has ever done that. Because law firms don't generally clients talking to each other because they're like, ooh, we don't want this client to know what this. That's just so ridiculous. Let's just stop with that. Let's help people.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. I love that. Yes, you dropping all those nuggets on what you guys offer at your law firm. I love it. I love it. So tell us about are there any new laws that's been put into effect that the public may not know about when it comes to civil law?
Well, the most recent change in family law, and of course, the legislator meets every 2 years, and then that's when we get a lot of changes. We don't
Okay.
automatically immediately know. We have to do a little rollout, and then everybody knows what the legislator changed in the Texas Family Code. The main change in the last couple of years was to modifications. In
Okay.
the past, you used to be able to just file a modification if there was a substantial and material change in one of the parties that included the parents as well as the child. Then they said it's just judicially it's taxing, because there's only a certain number of judges, a certain number of clerks to process the pleadings, a certain number of everything. So it was just too many requests coming in. So they made it now so that if you want to do a modification within the first year of an order that was previously filed, you have to
Okay.
provide an affidavit. You have to go into exhaustive detail, letting the court know what that material change of circumstance was, and then the court makes a decision whether or not you can be heard. So that's one of the main changes is when people call and they want a modification and it's within that 1 year period of their previous order, sometimes you can't get it. So you need to
Okay.
be sure that when you go into court, if it's an agreement, that is an agreement you can live with. And then, of course, if it's the court order, there's nothing you can do about it unless that material or substantial change rises to the level where the court will hear you again.
Okay. Now, is there a website that individual can go on to stay up to date with all the new changes?
There's several websites
Okay.
actually,
Okay.
and now you can even go and use Chat GPT. You,
That's true.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I must
I never
say,
thought about looking up the new laws like that. But that's
yes,
true.
yeah,
Yeah, you can
I'll
use
use
that for a lot.
ChatGPT. It's so easy. Just install it on your phone or your device. You say, what are the new family law cases or
Yeah.
situations that I need to know about? If I have a child who's 3, if I have a, just tell ChatGPT whatever you need, and it'll kick it out for you like that.
Okay. Good advice. Um, I wanted to know about the different challenges that you were faced when you started your firm, because I know, anytime you start something new, sometimes you get a brick wall and you don't know how to get through that brick wall. Can you tell us a little bit about those challenging times and how were you able to overcome those times?
Yes. Well, first, I think I'll preface that the answer with this.
Okay.
Practicing as a solo practitioner, where it's just you and maybe a paralegal, maybe not. I call it the Wild Wild West, which is you do what you want, when you want, how you want. And I'm just being frank. When you
Yeah.
scale up, when you're ready to scale and actually start a law firm and go global, the first thing is what systems are you going to put in place to scale? And that's something that us as a culture and as a people, historically, we've been kind of shut out of some of that knowledge because either we're in a different space or we're stuck in survival mode for so long that we can't open up our mind to actually start to learn something that's going to help us expand. So that was the most challenging
Yeah.
thing was what systems do I put in? Because I was practicing as a solo practitioner for a long time and I didn't have
Right.
systems in place. I didn't have systems. It was just okay. I was going to do what I wanted to do, but that's
Hmm.
unscalable. You're going to
Yeah. So did you?
start.
So you tried several different systems first until you found one that worked. Is that what happened?
Yes, there's a lot of different operating systems that you have to pull
Hmm.
together, like the website, and how does that integrate with the client management software? How does that integrate with your phone systems? Are you going to be able to text with your phone systems? What about recording the phone calls? Is all of this going to dump right into, even though we don't invoice, we still have to keep track of our time, obviously, because we need to know our numbers. That's the other thing, is knowing your numbers. The financial aspect of scaling is real. You can't scale without having a hold on, okay, how much does all of this cost? And what is it going to take for us to be profitable? What are our margins going to be if we don't hit these numbers? So that was actually one of the most challenging parts of all of this, is me having to learn how to do all that and how to bring people to co-create with me to help me.
Yes. What advice could you give somebody that wants to start their law firm but don't know where to start? What advice could you give them?
So if you're like working at a government agency and you want to start your own practice, or you're working with another lawyer and you want to start your own practice.
Yes, they want to start their own practice.
Get a mentor. That is the number one thing that will be helpful, is to find a mentor, someone who you connect with, their energy resonates with your energy, and you can see how they laid their path out. Because I was raising my son when I went to law school. My son was only 6 years old, and I was all in the whole, I just got to provide. I was in that survival mode. I have to provide for my son. He's now 28 years old, so I'm good. I'm out of the wood with that. He's good.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more free to think about other things, but I didn't have a mentor. That was one of the things that I did not accomplish. Was but I like doing, that's just my personality. I do stuff the hard way all the time. That's just how I go.
Yeah.
That's my path. But I don't advise that. I advise for someone not to go the hard way and to get a good mentor.
That's very important. So if someone wants you to be their mentor, how can they find you on social media?
Just type in Victoria Broussard, and I promise you a plethora of information will come up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Instagram,
Facebook.
If you put me in Google, you'll get many, many pages. I've done a lot of things over the past 20 years. So other than, I've also written a book, so you'll find all the stuff about my book. It's a lot. If you just put me in Google, you'll find me, or you can also find me at thealchemyattorneys.com. The website is still building out, but the law office of Victoria Broussard is a website that is still up and running until we shut that down. So you can find me at the law office of Victoria Broussard.
Well, thank you so much. And this has been an awesome interview, and I've been over here taking my little notes here because it's been very informative, and that's what my platform is about, is informing the public and giving them valuable information, which you just gave me some very valuable information. What is one word that you can describe your practice and your law firm? One word that can describe.
I don't know if you can see that behind me. Can you see that?
Is it love? Is that the word love? Oh, okay.
That's it.
And that's missing. That's missing at law firms. A lot of times they just want your money. Come on in, and you're out the door. No personal connection, none of that. And I love the fact that you make a personal connection with all of your clients, and you make sure love is the key factor when they come when they walk through your doors. That you give them the love that they're seeking, because like you said, they distress. It's a lot going on when they come to your office. So not only you their attorney, you can also be their therapist when they come in there. You're a little bit of both. So I appreciate everything that you're doing, and keep up the good work. I'm proud of you, and I would definitely be sending individuals your way. So thank you so much. Do you have any shout outs or any thoughts or comments that you would like to share?
I want to thank Thurgood Marshall School of Law, Texas Southern University. I am so grateful for that experience. A lot of people have a lot of things to say, But I tell you, there are some fantastic, phenomenal lawyers who came out of TSU, and I'm one of them. So kudos to
your product right there. TSU. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, and many blessings to you. And I want to thank everyone who are tuned in today. If you guys are interested in being a guest on the Not So Christian and Me Show, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram and Facebook at the Not So Christian and Me Show. Also, feel free to sow us a seed via Cash App, $TNSCIM. Until next time, remember that no matter what you guys are going through, God will always see you through. Stay blessed up. Bye.
Bye-bye.